Fine, there you go. Okay, everyone, we are online apparently. So welcome to Digital Week Online. So you get all kind of lines up somehow. Here we are on International Women's Day, and our topic today is Femtech, something I know nothing about, but I'm eager to learn. So I'm going to pass it to our esteemed moderator, Cissy. Cissy, it's all yours. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to turn off my video and go for it. Talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you very much, Gordon. That is a great intro, very high temperature, high energy intro. So that's great. All right. So we have today, this is Digital Week Online, the Femtech panel. And today's thing is Choose to Challenge for International Women's Day 2021. So hi, everyone. Happy International Women's Day for 2021. Welcome to the Femtech panel as part of Women's Leadership Day in Digital Week Online. I am Cissy Ma. I'm the Managing Director of Grow and Sell Your Biz, co-founder of APAC Women's Mentoring Circle, and a founding activator of SheEO in Australia. I'm extremely honored to be the host of the panel today. I acknowledge the traditional owners of country on which we meet today, the Yagara people for me, and pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Today's theme of Choose to Challenge was inspired by International Women's Day. A challenged world is an alert world. Individually, we're all responsible for our own thoughts and actions all day, every day. We can choose to challenge and call out gender stereotypes, discrimination, and bias. We can choose to seek out and celebrate women's achievements. Collectively, we can create an inclusive and more gender equal world. From challenge comes change. So let's all choose to challenge. The focus of today's panel is on Femtech, a female technology, a health tech category estimated by Frost and Sullivan to become a $50 billion per annum industry by 2025. All of the Femtech ecosystem is choosing to challenge the status quo. Femtech refers to software, diagnostics, products and services that use technology to improve women's tech health. With 50% of the global population as target customers, Femtech is hailed as the next big phenomenon in the women's health market. And the time has come for clinical diagnostics, biopharmaceuticals, and medical device companies to tap into this market opportunity. According to Crunchbase, in January 21, Femtech received $1 billion in VC funding in 2020, out of the $300 billion VC investments altogether, but up from $625 million in 2019. Today, we're privileged to have on the panel 3 experts in the Femtech field. So I'll go through quickly who they are. We have Pierre, on screen as Viracha. So Pierre is the marketing manager for Fermata from Japan and Singapore. And then secondly, we have Carmen Chen, founder and managing partner, Click Ventures from Hong Kong. And thirdly, we have Kate Eliseeva, business development director, AMMA pregnancy tracker. Thank you all to the panelists for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience with us. We'll have approximately 15 minutes for introductions, so 5 minutes each, 25 minutes for panel Q&A, with the remaining time for audience Q&A. I encourage the audience to put your questions in the Q&A section so that we can answer them during the last segment. First, I'd like to ask each panelist to give a brief introduction of their background and the Femtech related issues they're currently working on. Could I ask each person to keep it within 5 minutes? Let's keep the following sequence and appreciate it if you could pass the microphone to the next lady after you finish. So the first one, we'll have Pierre speaking. The second, we'll have Carmen speaking, and the third, Kate. So Pierre, over to you for the introduction of yourself and Fermata. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cissy. Thank you everyone for having me. My name is Per, but you can also call me Viracha. I am currently joined Fermata in October last year when Amina, the founder of Fermata, invited me to launch the second headquarters of Fermata in Singapore, because Singapore, as many of you know, is the good testing bed for a lot of new products that want to launch into Southeast Asia. So she asked me to join Fermata last year when I moved back to Thailand from San Francisco. And before I joined Fermata, I was working at a fertility startup called KEG. It's a fertility wearable that helps women detect when she's going into her fertile window. So I helped the team there launch the product in San Francisco, in America, and then once I moved back to Thailand during the pandemic, I've been with Fermata ever since, and I've been working along with growing the marketplace, the Femtech marketplace in Singapore, doing a lot of product partnerships and trying to expand into Southeast Asia.
Right. Do you want to give us a introduction of Fermata, what it is?
Of course. So Fermata was started by Amina in 2019. It's kind of the Asia's largest femtech ecosystem. It has a VC arm plus a marketplace area. And not only that, but the marketplace itself is Japan, and in Asia, there's a lot of regulatory hurdles when it comes to bringing in certain medical devices and different types of products. And since Femtech is such a new category of products and solutions, when they bring it into Asia, it needs a lot of assistance, whether that's regulatory hurdles like getting through product classifications, or if that's a marketing strategy to cater to the local population, or even translation in Japanese. So Fermata helps with all the above. So it helps with basically trying to bring a product entry into Japan and in Singapore. And we're also going to be launching that into Southeast Asia. And what we notice is that when it comes to Femtech, you can't grow it without a community. So Fermata really emphasizes doing workshops, hosting online and offline workshops. We host a lot of panel events called Femtech Fez. And in Japan especially, there have been a lot of pop-ups in department stores as well, where people can go in and do product demos and feel and touch the different Femtech products that we hold at the store. So people don't want to just see the product because it's so new. They want to actually experience it and try it out themselves. And last week, actually, Fermata just did a pop-up at a department store in Tokyo called Mitsugoshi, which is quite one of the most popular department stores in Japan, and quite a conservative one as well. So it's good to see that these conventional department stores and partnerships are being more open to Femtech products as well. I'll pass it on to Carmen.
Excellent.
Hi, everyone. So I was also a tech entrepreneur before I turned into a VC. So I have been in this tech industry for more than 20 years, 17 years as a founder and also a tech columnist. And then 8 years ago, I exit my own company and I start to do angel investment. And in 2015, I started Click Ventures. So I would say I'm now still a fun entrepreneur. Click Ventures is my fun startup, you can call it. So it's been 8 years in this investment journey. We have done close to 50 investments around the world. And apart from investing, I'm also very active to speak for events in different countries, because I found, our portfolio company, although most of them are seed to Series A stage, but startup nowadays can expand globally much faster than 10 years ago when I was running my own startup. So we found that global connections are very important. And so we proactively acquire these connections through our speaking activities. to help our portfolio company. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Is it okay? Do you want to check it out?
Okay, give me 1 minute.
That's all
I'll
right.
come back. So I pass the mic to the next lady first.
Yeah. So cute situation, as we understand, as we know. Happy International Women's Day for our cozy discussion, and for you ladies, of course, it's our holiday. Nice to meet you in our best discussion, and I'm the director of Amma Pregnancy Tracker. It's a mobile application which helps families years. I have organized a lot of business missions, events, webinars, acceleration programs, not only in Russia, because I'm from Russia. These programs are for startups, corporate customers, and other accelerators and companies in France, Germany, China, and etc. Also, I take part in different international events, Tel Aviv, Berlin, Paris, Beijing, of course, DigitalWeek.Online week, like moderator, panelist, member of jury. And nowadays, I work for the best team and the best application. I'm a pregnancy tracker and develop fast-growing 10 companies, startups, and projects. Also, I help entrepreneurs to fundraise money from investors and to find out a new point of business growth. Thank you. And I pass it to Cissy.
Okay.
Is the child okay, Carmen?
Yeah, she's okay.
What happened?
Yeah, she tried to rush inside, and then sister tried to stop her, and then some accident happened.
Oh no.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you okay to stay online?
Yeah. What I said. I mentioned that a lot of our portfolio company need global connections because they expand much faster to different regions compared to 10 years ago. And that's why we proactively create different ecosystem and also go to different country as a speaker and connect different ecosystem player to help our portfolio company and also get good deal flow in this way. And so this is what we have been doing. And we are not only investing in Hong Kong, we are actually focusing on Asia and US. So we have a lot of investment in these two regions. And we also have some investment in Europe. And that's why we have a pretty diverse portfolio companies. And when I was running my own startup before, I was in China. And that's why I have some exposure on the China ecosystem as well. That's all.
Very good. Thank you for your introduction. And Kate's already introduced herself and the pregnancy tracker as well. So thank you, Kate and Carmen and Pierre for your introduction. So that I think we're ahead of time, but let's move on to the specific Q&A segment. So this segment I'll ask one question of each of the panelists, and you each have 3 minutes or so to answer it if you like, and then we next we'll move to the general Q&A. So the specific Q&A is for each panelist. The first one is all directed towards Pierre. So what kind of Femtech startups will we see in the next 5 years? What is, for example, what is the trends and what are the hot areas, especially, I guess you can put a focus on Japan and Singapore, given those are the two countries that Fermata operates in. You clear with the question? So what are the Femtech startups and the trends and hot areas?
Yeah, thank you. trends, I think, we've seen, femtech is quite a new industry overall. It's only 28 years old, but especially last year and the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of at-home solutions, whether that's products or services, whether that's, wearables or at-home kits, things that offer women specific and personalized care without them having to go out their house. And, women's lives are already quite busy. And if like things that are able to give women more access to care that is more personalized and at home. When it comes to products, that's, fertility monitors, hands-free breast pumps, pregnancy trackers. But I think that has been the trend in the past couple of years. But moving forward, we'll see a lot more diagnostic tools and treatments, at-home diagnostic tools and treatments, because now with the monitors that we have at home, we're able to gather more data, populational data on a scale that we've never had before. And that can, with that kind of data, we can see a lot more health trends, and researchers will be able to find more diagnostic solutions to sex-specific problems in health that we've never been able to access before. For example, when I was working at KEG, the company just launched in May 2020, and it has now already has the largest database on vaginal data because the device itself monitors cervical mucus in the vaginal environment. And before that, most women had to go into the hospital to get like an ultrasound and to measure their vaginal data at the hospital. But KEG makes it easy, 2 minutes at home every day. So now with that kind of vaginal data, there's been a lot of studies and hypothesis on cervical mucus, on indicating like women's overall fertility, even when she goes into menopause and when she can go into labor, because the cervix changes all the time, the biochemical environment in there changes. So there's been a lot of hypotheses and research on this, but not a lot of data to back it up. So now products like KEG are able to give that kind of data to research institutes, if that's something that they're interested in. I think in Japan and in Singapore, there's a lot of regulatory changes that needs to be made. That seems to be one of the biggest hurdles when it comes to expanding into a new country, especially in Japan, because right now Fermata is working very closely with the Japanese government to make sure that they are aware of what femtech is, because the problem right now is that a product goes into Japan, wants to get it registered, but the government has no idea what this new product is. Even like a basic femcare product like a period underwear, it's neither a medical device or a cosmetic, so they have to kind of create a new product classification with Fermata to assess what kind of system or classification this new product like a period underwear has to go through. There's a lot of stakeholders within femtech, but working with regulatory is definitely something that has to be pushed moving forward. And every country has its own regulatory hurdles, especially in Southeast Asia and Singapore. Even though it's a melting pot of ethnicities, the regulatory issues are very unique to each own country. So having a supporter like Fermata or any type of body that can help you, speed fast through those regulatory hurdles will make difference in terms of growing your product worldwide.
Very good. Thank you for that. I understand, like when I spoke to Amina, she talked about the Japanese government actually putting in some funding for femtech as well. That sounds like a really great news, right? Yeah. So it's they sort of recognize the importance of femtech now. It sounds like, which is great. It's not happening in Australia yet. Okay, so thank you, Pierre. The second question to Carmen. So what is your take on this question about the types of femtechs that we will see in the next 5 years? And from your Click Ventures perspective, and I guess more specifically, maybe you can comment on the trends in Hong Kong, or any other country that you guys operate in as well, please.
Yeah, so I think I can share one unique aspect for Femtech is it's not just the product or service that you're selling right now, your current focus vertical, but because female is holding a lot of purchasing power for not only themselves but also for their family, the kids and the elderly. And that's why a lot of the Femtech, when they get started, they are actually just use the current service to acquire this community of female users. And we have seen example even more than 10 years ago, company after building this community, then they can expand to other vertical. So like in China, more than 10 years ago, you will see a lot of female related or to be mother related community. So at that time, we didn't have that much variable for product, but there are a lot of community for discussion, for sharing information. And then all these community, after they acquire enough to be mother users, and then they expand to the baby product when they have a significant amount of user. So what I think is in the future, unless you are very technical, very focused on a certain kind of product, ultimately a lot of the Femtech can become a platform, and you could introduce different kind of product in the future. Even you are starting with a Femtech product at the moment. And I see there's a big opportunity because at the moment I'm pretty surprised when I find out a lot of the healthcare product that we are using nowadays, including like medicine, female are not tested, most of the medicine. So the testing subject were around male only. Yeah, like some
Why is that?
Like some toxicology and biomedical research, female subject has been totally excluded traditionally. And then for some medicine, even though there are some female participating in the testing, but still majority is men. So that's why today when we see, medicine, the suggested portion for adult is actually based on men, not based on female. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of product in the market that need improvement. If you have a product really tailored for female, that would be a big market in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I guess some of the female-only products that they'll have to be tested on female, right? Like period pain, this type of thing, right?
Yes.
You can't just say it's Panadol, it's pain relief, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, that's
but not only those.
Yeah.
What I want to say is not only those, but a lot of other product as well.
Yeah, I think to add to Carmen, like a couple of years ago, Ambien, the sleeping pill Ambien, the FDA had to ask the company to reduce the recommended dosage for women because they realized that the recommended dosage was actually too high for women because women metabolize the drug twice as fast. So they had to create, like a blue pill and a pink pill, like a low dose pill and a high dose pill to make it sex specific because the dose, add on to Carmen, like a lot of clinical trials, they exclude women because pregnant women are considered a vulnerable population, one of the three main vulnerable populations, including, children and elderly. So if women are potentially childbearing, it's it's a variable, it's something that they can't really control in a clinical trial. So it's better and it's more efficient to just, exclude the whole sex or the whole gender in the clinical trials.
Wow.
Just out. Yeah.
Surely that's changing now.
Thank you.
Is it changing now, or is that practice? Yeah. I mean, I can't believe that. Is that practice changing, or is it still continuing, ongoing with that practice? Are you guys aware of that? No?
I'm not sure, but I know that if more funding goes into women's health, which was very little before, now we can, put more emphasis in making the study designed to look at women's health and how each drug, targets women differently, because, from a biological standpoint, we're very different, and how a drug metabolizes based on our weight, our sex, it's quite different. So to create a different type of study would,
Yeah, definitely. This actually reminds me of something that is completely different from the Femtech base, but it was an AI study, AI-backed, HR platform that Amazon put together. But the AI data that they used were all mostly male. So in the end, they had to basically put a stop to it, even though they started using it and realized that it's actually giving the incorrect information, because the hiring side as well, there's this male female difference, and if it's done based on male, then it's not going to be representative of the entire female and male agenda. So yeah, that is a great concept. So thank you for highlighting that, both Carmen and Pierre. Thank you for that. So we can move on to the third question, specific question for Kate. So what do you think will happen to the Femtech market after 2020? This is a big question, but I'm sure you have an answer to it. Let's look into the crystal ball.
Yeah, I'll try, do my best. This is a very big and interesting question for us, of course. Businesses created by women for women. This is the Femtech motto, I would say. But if we could see, last year was very difficult for us and for Femtech market in the world, of course. And one of the key dominates of 2020, of course, the COVID pandemic, which has largely changed consumer sentiment and market drivers in the digital area. The coronavirus pandemic has led an increase in demand for application in digital health, and at the same time, for many, offline medicine has become unavailable. But in Western markets, as we see, Femtech is actively transforming into a full-fledged ecosystem, I would say. Taking care of yourself, your physiological state and mind, it also becomes a growth point for Femtech, of course. According to different articles and experts' opinions, the pandemic has generated both positive and negative factors for the development of Femtech sectors. Positive drivers, of course, increased focus on health. The decline in solvency has increased attention to preventive, predictive health care methods. Of course, Femtech projects operate. Growth and interest in conscious motherhood and parenting. Interesting fact, growth in the number of women among IT professionals and IT entrepreneurs all over the world. Interesting fact. Negative factors, I would say, lack of legislative framework for the development of medical technological projects, and difficulty entering business for women in several regions of the country. But to sum up these facts, I think the demand for Femtech and family tech products will be extremely high, and of course it will be growth in 2021. I hope that this trend will develop as quickly as it soon. An entire ecosystem will be built for the development for Femtech startups all over the world. That's all to sum up.
Great, thank you. That's a very very good summary of what the market is going to be. Thank you for that, Kate. So now let's move into the general Q&A segment. I will ask the question, and each of you can choose to answer the question. If you just raise your hand, and you can just speak up. So the first question I'll talk about is I don't know if you guys have seen that there is a Harvard Business Review study that in February 2021 that women-led startups received 2.3% of VC funding in 2020, down from 2.8% in 2019. What do you think are the factors that contributed to this decline in 2020? So, I mean, we've all long seen that women founders receive less funding than men, but this number have, after years of work that people are trying to do, but the number still went down in 2020. Would you like to give some insights on what you think the factors might be that contributed to this decline?
Yeah, maybe I can share some of my estimation, I would say, because I think during the pandemic, what happened is a lot of the VC, kind of shift their focus more on their current portfolio companies or some of the bigger or later stage deal, because later stage deal, you have more financial figures, you can play around. So it's easier to do the due diligence, even remotely, when you have all the figures on hand. And so some of, even like our own VC firm, in the last few months, we have been busy on our pre-IPO deal because some of our portfolio company are going a pre-IPO round. So we have been pretty busy to focus on them. And then on the other hand, actually, I think on the other hand, although a lot of the VC kind of slow down in the decision making on new and early stage deal, but most of the VC actually look at even more deal compared to before because they don't need to travel that much. And some VC firm even because they have more time, so they even look at more founder from more countries. So they open up their horizon. So these become, I think, it's like a sleeping power. So more VC actually look at more deals, but maybe they haven't made decision yet. Especially in the last few years, a lot of the female founder are still on the early stage. Not that many have gone to the late stage yet. So all these early stage female founder, maybe they have met a lot of VC, but they didn't make decision yet. So I think we still need to see what will happen in this year when VC find out that we need to make a decision without face-to-face communication, without meeting each other face-to-face. So I think this year there will be some VCs start to make decision even for these early stage startup that they haven't met face-to-face but only met virtually or do diligence virtually. Yeah.
So you think that in 2021 we'll see more deals being done then, because people are, have been considering it for a while, and therefore it's time that they have to make a decision. Yeah.
Yeah, because
well, let's wait.
Yeah, because last year there are a lot of things slowed down in the first quarter, right? Or even in the first half year, a lot of things slowed down, and so some VC are also doing fundraising themselves. And so LP slowed down, and then VC didn't close their fund, and so their decision making also slowed down. So that these all together could be the reason. but we see a lot of
Yeah.
activity are picking up in this year.
Yeah. No, that's good. Thanks for that. I think it makes sense that, you know, that's what I see as well in practice, that some of the VCs are being slow in making the decision. But I think at the bigger end of the town, some of the bigger deals are still getting done because the overall number of deals or the dollar value of the deals last year have actually increased. And, you know, for Femtech, for example, increased from 600 some million to about $1 billion. That's quite a big increase, you know, 60% increase. But still, the overall percentage shrank because I guess more male-dominated deals got done last year than female. So, yes. Any other ideas and maybe opinions on that?
So I want to say only one point. 1 second. I read the interesting research, and it showed that women-led teams generate 35% more revenue than men-only teams. As I know, as I understood, in the US, there are already funds that invest in the women funders. And so I hope that in all of the world, this trend will develop. Some point.
That's a great point. And like studies after studies show that, you know, women founders do contribute to economic growth. And, you know, SheEO, for example, for the 95 ventures that we invested in, I think all of them have had 3 times revenue increases over the last few years. And we had, you know, a 95% loan repayment ratio. And they were all early stage, you know, VCs, early stage ventures rather than late stage ventures. So, you know, it's definitely females are doing great in that sense. Okay, maybe we'll move on to the next question. So talking about the reason, I guess I'm trying to understand what the reasons are. So back in 2017, another Harvard Business Review study also showed that different styles of questions for were asked for male and versus female founders. So do you actually see female founders being asked different questions than male founders at investor meetings? I guess to clarify that a little bit is that the VCs tend to ask female founders history-related questions, while they tend to ask male founders future-oriented questions. So as we go to a VC meeting, obviously you're trying to pitch it so that the VC will invest into the future. But if you just keep on talking about the past, that's not going to be able to provide you with a better picture of the future, is it? Because the past is, you know, that the reason why they're going to the VC is that they want more funding so that they can actually get, you know, grow that faster, that you know, the hockey stick. So I guess my question is, do you think that really happens in practice? And you know, in my practice, I have found that to be true, but I'd like to hear some more views from you guys. Anyone?
Maybe I want to clarify a little bit about that research. So I think the difference for female founder and male founder is the question for male founder tends to be progressive related question, something like how can you get a bigger market share, something like that. And then the question for female founder are more protective type of question, such as how can you protect your market share from being taken away from your competitor. So these two types of question basically it's actually around the same thing about the market. But for male founder, it's more about progressive, how they can become bigger. But for the female, it's more about how they protect themselves. So I have read that research as well. I think most important is this kind of situation does happen sometime, but not all the time. Depends on the investor. but more important is, as a female founder, how we can change the situation. I think that's more important. So if in case you have been asked a protective kind of question, so how can you turn this into your own opportunity? Because, when you just accept that question and you just answer it directly, then usually you get less point compared to a male founder who will talk about their future plan, how they can become the market leader, things like that. So then you are in a disadvantage, right? But if you could, change, if you could just answer the question and then change immediately into a more progressive type of answer, and you start to talk about how you could make a difference, then usually in this kind of situation, the female founder will get even more point compared to a male founder. So I think this kind of skill set is very important to female founder. It's a fact that we always face unconscious bias. We always face this kind of situation. I have also been to a lot of boardroom with I am the only female. And even in Israel, I've been to a boardroom in Israel, and imagine a country like Israel. I'm the only female. And there are some area that female cannot go into, And so I think the skill set, how you can turn all these disadvantage into opportunity, is a very important skill set for all female founders.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great point, and I think we need to, make it all known to more female founders that how they actually can turn around the question, right? Turn around the answer to the question, because the natural thing is to answer the question that's asked, but you need to actually not ask, answer the question but quickly, but then turn it into, some progressive thing, answer straight away. So, yeah, it's a great point, Carmen. Any comments from the others, Pierre or Kate?
No.
No? Okay, fair enough. Sorry?
I quite agree. I quite agree.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So the next question I have is, what are some of the challenges for Femtech in coming years? What do you think are the challenges that this is a really big question as well, but whatever you can that comes to your mind, I think. I guess for me is, first of all, is funding, right? Funding is a great challenge. Are there any other challenges, like, from a female founders perspective? Founders, yeah. Pierre, do you want to say something? It sounds.
Yeah, Jen. So, funding is obviously one of the main issues, but also when it comes to once a product is launched, if they want to grow and expand into a new country, they have to deal with, the regulatory issues that I mentioned before, but there's also where places to sell. So where can these products be sold? Whether that's online or offline, there's issues on both ends. Like online, if you want to sell a product that and through paid marketing, through paid advertising like Google or Facebook, most of the times the ads will get banned depending on the product, what the product is. If a product, is uncertain or goes through the algorithm and gets banned as, like, for example, a Kegel trainer or a fertility tracker or any type of wearable product often gets banned as an adult sex toy. Just immediately. And if the person who is behind that monitor is regulating the product has no idea what this is, they will most likely flag it as something that can't be advertised. So, and there's already restrictions in terms of online advertising where these products can be marketed and these channels. And even offline, like if we go into retail, a lot of retailers and department stores have to take on that risk of, bringing in quite a novel product that might hold some taboos, like cultural stigmas around products. For example, femtech products within the sexual wellness category, even if the product is designed with women in mind, female founded and designed, and has the women's health first in mind, if the product can hold some risk of being controversial or holding some type of taboo and a negative reaction within the public, that's the risk that the retailer has to make on the behalf of the femtech company. And so it doesn't just take changing regulatory bodies and getting more funding, but also the cultural stigma. So that's a little bit more tricky, and that requires a lot more, casual conversations, raising awareness about why these products are necessary, what kind of taboos are they uncovering, and why do we need them today? And that takes everyone, right? Like just talking to your friends about these types of products, talking to your male partners, your male friends, opening up the conversation in the beginning.
Very good. That's very true. Yeah. Thank you. And I didn't realize it about those advertising bans. Actually, that kind of I can understand why they ban it, but also it is, yeah. But there's a lot of education and a lot of conversations that need to be had. Yeah. So, Carmen, do you have something that you wanted to say? Carmen?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think another thing maybe you want to know is, is it easy to get funding from a male investor when you're selling a female product? Yeah. So I think
exactly.
If we can have more female VC, that would definitely help to understand the product more. But sometimes when you want to pitch a male investor, in case you need to pitch a male investor, I think you could also do some research so that the investor, when they do the due diligence, they can ask around their wife or their girlfriend to get more information related to the product.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But
very
definitely
true.
it's not
I've
first
heard that
hand.
before.
Not first hand.
Yeah, but ask. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Ask your wife, ask your daughter. That's really. These are people that the VC will listen to. But you're right. It's not first hand. They don't. They wouldn't be able to understand it firsthand. But by the same token, many of the male-dominated, I guess products, female don't understand either. But because there are more male VCs than female VCs, it's not an issue. So, yeah, I think you raised a really good point. I was going to ask that question, but now that you've answered it, so I don't have to ask that question now. Kate, do you have any
yes.
comments, or are you okay with it?
Yes, I
think we're almost
some
we're almost at time. We have 2 minutes left. We have 2 minutes left.
As we like 2 minutes.
I was going to ask audience for Q&A, but looks like we don't have any audience questions. So that's fine. Let's. Did you guys see any audience questions? No, right? No audience questions. No. Yeah, I mean the last question was about whether we have. Sorry.
No.
I was going to ask if there are any initiatives to tackle the challenges for the femtech in the industry or in your country. If anyone, have some femtech initiatives that you'd like to, let us know, that'd be really good. For me, SheEO is the thing that I wanted to tell everyone about. So that's basically SheEO.world. That's a huge initiative for women. So, Kate, you have some comments?
Yeah.
Do you have some comments?
At last, some points that we like. As we know, each country is a unique world for developing femtech startups, and the situation in Russia is different from countries, of course. There are no specialized funds for female founders or femtech startups. and because of the country's low investment attractiveness on the international market, the only way to develop is to relocate to foreign markets, of course. This explains the large number of international femtech startups created in Russia and these countries. But nowadays, I often see the interest from funds and different funds investment to femtech startups, and it's great. It makes me happy in Russia, of course. We have several products, and they are now very popular in Russia. Of course, it's Amma pregnancy tracker, Flow, Vachanga, Clue, etc. We can confidently say that the Russian market has accumulated sufficient expertise to launch and develop femtech projects, both locally and globally. Finally, I would say a smart motherhood trend has emerged in Russia, and moms actively had podcasts, YouTube shows, write books, articles, blogs, Instagram, etc. It's amazing, and I hope it will be continued, and femtech will go to the next level.
Great, thank you, Kate. That's great. Yeah, there was no audience question, so I'm just going to close it. And finally, if I may ask each panelist to leave audience with one parting thought on femtech. I think, Kate, you already had your parting thought, right? Unless you have something else. Yeah, so Peach, sorry, not Peach, Pear. Sorry. Yeah. Do you have any parting thoughts?
Just that, don't forget about half the world's population. It's coming, and even though femtech isn't really booming in the APAC region, mostly Australia, Singapore, Thailand, I think it's inevitable that it will come, because people will just realize, like, why haven't we had these solutions all of our lives? And so it's more of a necessity than it is, a luxury item, I think.
Yeah, very good. Great. What about you, Carmen? Any parting thoughts?
I think, in case you really need to pitch a male VC about a femtech product that he cannot experience firsthand, during your pitch, maybe you could collect some focus group data to present, so to facilitate the male VC's understanding. That may help.
Very great advice. Thanks, Carmen. Yeah, I'm sure that will help people definitely. Focus group or endorsements and videos and stuff like that, right? Yeah, so thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the panelists for your time and deep insights today. Let's all choose to challenge in everything we do in our daily lives and to drive rapid growth of the femtech industry and beyond. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. See you later. I think we're at time now. It's 11:00.